Welcome back, true believers and spectacular Spidey fans, to another Spider-Man PS4 related video, and today is actually an interesting video because it's a continuation of a video I've already done before. And this was a recommendation from one of our fellow true believers, Cable Sam, and he suggested me to do a part 2 of the video I did where I speculated what the Peter Parker gameplay could be for Spider-Man PS4. And him and I discussed certain ideas that we could talk about in this video and other type of instances that could happen for Peter in this game, because it has been basically confirmed by Insomniac Games that there will be Peter Parker gameplay in this game, since they have said that the best stories are when Peter Parker's world and Spider-Man's world collide, and that is the main theme of Spider-Man PS4. That is the main storyline that they're going with this game, that they're trying to convey throughout the entirety of this game. That is what they have been trying to hit throughout the entirety of the development of this game, and it would not make sense if there was not Peter Parker gameplay, whether that's really a lot of Peter Parker gameplay or just really small snippets of Peter Parker gameplay, kind of like what we've had in past Spider-Man games, like you're seeing right now with Ultimate Spider-Man, what we've had in Spider-Man 3, even in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And again, we have never really had a Spider-Man game with actual full-on, totally legitimate Peter Parker gameplay. We have just had little short missions with Peter, and that's it. And again, after the whole Peter stuff is done, they just go right back to Spider-Man. Whereas if Insomniac Games is saying that Peter is a really huge part of this game, I would think that they would want to try and convey that with really thorough gameplay. And since Insomniac Games is known for really amazing gameplay segments for all their characters, even with Ratchet and Clank, they gave Clank little tiny segments of just him by himself exploring places and doing things on important missions. So if we do not get full-on Peter Parker free roaming, then hopefully we will get really epic missions. And these are the ideas that Cable Sam and I discussed about what Peter could possibly do in Spider-Man PS4 in regards to gameplay. So, since Spider-Man is going to be a really huge part of the game, it would make sense that we have to kind of ease the tension with Peter. We would give Peter lesser threats than what Spider-Man would handle. Spider-Man would obviously have to deal with Mr. Negative and the Inner Demons, probably with whatever's going on with Norman Osborn and the Mayor running. With Peter, it would be trying to go more in-depth with it, like kind of what they did with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, or what they tried to do at least, I should say, where Peter investigated his enemies, where he went to Craven's loft and he basically interrogated Craven, even though it was a report for him. Like, Craven thought it was for a report in the paper, but it was actually Peter just interrogating him so he could find out if Craven would actually help him or not. And then that led to Peter going as Spider-Man to try and work with Craven. So again, Peter can actually do a lot of helpful things in his life to benefit his life as Spider-Man. So with all the stuff and all the villains that he has, and knowing that the villains so far in this game are probably going to be Norman Osborn and mainly Mr. Negative that we know so far, it would make sense if we kind of continue that, where Peter could do not really detective work, because Peter Parker / Spider-Man is not Batman, okay? He is not a full-on detective, but he is a really smart guy. And the only way he can use his intelligence for villains is try and figure out maybe where their main base of operations is, trying to see how he can try and take them down, maybe try and see what their weakness is in their operations, like what they are not really fully doing that is allowing Peter as Spider-Man to try and take them down more easily and stuff like that. And there could be segments where if you are trying to find out where Mr. Negative's base of operations is, you would have to go and see it as Peter first and then go back as Spider-Man to take out the bad guys. Or a really cool thought that Cable Sam thought of is that we could fight as Peter Parker, kind of like what you're seeing here, where you get to fight Silver Sable as Peter Parker, but you still have the same movesets as Spider-Man, which is cool. But again, basically what this is right here is that even though you can see the health bar right there has Peter's face instead of Spider-Man's face, and you are Peter Parker in the scene, because in the previous Spider-Man games, when you're free roaming and you can have Peter Parker as a skin, like in Ultimate Spider-Man, you can free roam as either Peter Parker or Hooded Peter Parker, people still see you as Spider-Man because it's only a skin. So people would say, oh, thank you for saving me, Spider-Man, even though you're dressed as Peter Parker. As full-on Peter Parker gameplay goes, fighting as Peter would be something that's really, really interesting and intricate that could add diversity for Spider-Man PS4. And what I mean by this is as you're seeing right now, this is Ultimate Spider-Man, where you get to fight Silver Sable as Peter Parker, who is just using his spider powers and moves to fight Silver Sable, of course, which is totally fine, since Silver Sable knows Peter is Spider-Man, which is totally cool. But what if there was a scene where you're just walking down the streets of New York as Peter Parker, and you end up getting mugged. You end up getting taken into an alleyway or something, and Peter is being attacked by some muggers, even though that would probably never happen because Peter's spider sense would kick in. But if something like that would happen, Peter could try and fight in his own way instead of using his spider powers. Even though he still could, it'd be interesting to see how Peter himself would fight the bad guys undressed as Spider-Man, just in his civilian clothing, which is a really cool idea that Cable Sam had. As for this second point that we have right here, is that the whole upgrade system is still unknown, but in the past Insomniac games, we have had upgrades that range from weapons, from different, applications that you can use to those weapons to make them stronger, and since Spider-Man doesn't use any weapons, it's going to be a really interesting thing to see how the upgrades will work, which is where Peter can come in to see if Peter himself can actually work on the upgrades and see if he can actually make the upgrades himself. Like, instead of just selecting, you need to have 200 spider points to buy double swinging or something like that. Even though that might happen, it'd be more cool to see Peter actually make the upgrades himself. Like, wherever Peter is living, whether that is in a loft or he's actually in Aunt May's apartment or wherever it is, we could see Peter work in his base of operations and try and modify the spider suit. Maybe upgrade the web shooters and maybe add some more resistance to his costume and try and, train some other Spider-Man fighting moves and stuff on some dummies that he made or something like that. I don't know. Really cool features like that as Peter would make the game more dynamic and feel more, vivid in that sense, where Peter is just as important as Spider-Man is in this game, which would be equally shown in the amount of equal gameplay that would be offered for both characters. And a third one, which I'm not too sure about, but some of you thought it would be cool. But again, since it is confirmed that Spider-Man is in his career, that Peter Parker is in his career, that means that it is most likely confirmed that he is working at the Daily Bugle. It's not meaning that he's going to work at Parker Industries, because that seems a bit too far off in the comic lore and stuff like that, and the comic history of the character of Spider-Man, where Peter Parker ends up getting his own company and stuff, where he can actually run a whole company, which is actually his base of operations to create more spider tech, more technology for Spider-Man to use that can aid to take out bad guys and stuff. But since I believe that this is going to be a Peter Parker where he can be working at the Daily Bugle, even though he's in his career, college is still up for grabs. Even though he's not going to be going to classes or anything like that. But it'd be cool if we could just walk around a nearby New York college campus and see what it would be like just to be a kind of, college student or a young adult walking around near a college campus as Peter Parker. Instead of, we've had that in the past where in Ultimate Spider-Man there was a campus, in Web of Shadows there was a university, even in Spider-Man 3 there was a learning institute, same thing with Spider-Man 2, there was Peter's college that he went to, which we just could visit as Spider-Man, which is totally fine. I think it would be really interesting if we could actually go inside the college and walk around and interact with some of Peter's students, his classmates, his friends, as, Peter Parker. And maybe, they're all probably along with their lives too, like Flash Thompson's probably in the army, becoming Agent Venom or something. Liz Allen is probably doing her own thing. Gwen Stacy is probably dead, I'm assuming. Harry Osborn might be crazy so far, we don't know. And MJ is just doing her modeling, acting, profession. So even though all of Peter's, friends are out of college, is what I'm assuming, it'd still be cool if we could just be actually Peter and just walk around a New York college campus and see what that would feel like as Peter Parker instead of Spider-Man. So thank you so much for watching, True Believers. Thank you so much to Cable Sam for giving me all these amazing ideas. He is a fellow True Believer of ours, and without him, this video would not exist. Thank you so much, man. You are amazing. Thank you so much all for watching, True Believers. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.